And we're back to learning Midjourney. Let us talk about writing your first prompts. In the last video we've set up our own server so that we don't have to use the Midjourney server. And here's our Midjourney bot. And obviously we are the only members on this server, and therefore I can see all of my image generations in my own feed, neatly and easy to find setup. What you need is the /imagine command. You can type it in and then press tab, prompt will be added, or you can simply backslash and you find all of the commands that are useful right now. Imagine, we need that, so I left click on it and there it says imagine prompt. I can use a simple text prompt, one word house, and then press enter, and Midjourney does its magic in the background. It already started. I've used relaxed mode. Don't get confused by that. I'm going to explain what this means later on in a different video. I would suggest, if you're a total beginner, to check out the official documentation of Midjourney. I'll link to it, but you can also find it on the homepage, Midjourney documentation. Getting started, left click on it, and here we are on the quick start. Getting started, next steps, you will find prompts, and here it's explained /imagine prompt and then describe what you want. A more complex prompt looks like this. We can also add images instead of text and also parameters, and we can combine all of that in one single image generation. Let's go back, and here is our house. We get a result that gives us 4 variations. We can open that in a browser. And by default you currently see these buttons. It's numbered from 1 to 4. Top left is 1, top right 2. Bottom left 3, bottom right 4, and we have U for upscale. It's going to make the specific one bigger, V for variation, and there's also a full variation button, which is going to give us variations on our initial prompt. Let me upscale number 1, so the top left. I want to have a variation on bottom right, so we need V4, and I want to have a variation on my prompt house, so click on this full variation button. Upscale is already finished. This was the U1 right here. Now we have more options. We can vary it even more with strong, subtle, or in a specific region. We can zoom out even with a custom zoom. There are also these direction buttons. We can like it, and there's a web button. Let me explain this, but first we left click on the image, open it in a browser, and now right click and you can save it. Or you can also find it on your Midjourney profile, and you can access that by clicking on web. Just trust it, click on visit site, and you're going to be redirected to your official Midjourney profile. Here's the house image. It's my profile. And we can go to home. It was the last image I generated, so it's here. I can save it now using my profile. Let's get back to Discord. Don't worry too much about the direction buttons. I'll cover that in a later video. For now, we will take care of upscale and variations. Here is our total variation. So it has given us 4 more results with the initial prompt house, and they look completely different from one another. The variation of image 4, so V4 here, is still running. While it does, let us go back to the documentation, talk about parameters. They're always indicated with --, and we can use 1 or more parameters in a single prompt. Let me show you a simple one. I'll definitely make a video about all parameters that we can use. We'll stick to house, so /imagine, tab, then house, --AR 16:9. AR is a parameter. It simply means aspect ratio. By default, it's always a square, but when you use 16:9, you're going to get the typical video size. So this parameter is easy to understand, and you can even use a 15:5, for example, or that would be 3:1, right? And you could use it, for example, for a Twitter header or something. So all of this is possible using parameters. Here you can already see this has a totally different aspect ratio. It's our house 16:9. And the other ones, they always were squared. So aspect ratio 1:1. And this has finished. We even have enough space now for a moon. And as I've said, you can add one or multiple parameters. You have the same options afterwards for upscaling, variations. By default, you can see a variation is always strong. So if you want to have a subtle, you have to specifically select that after upscaling. V4 was this one. And if we now check the variations, you can see they have a similar style. Obviously, it's a little bit different, but it's not as different as the 4 initial generations were from one another. Let us get back. We also have image prompts, or we can also use them. We can use 1 up to 5. Let us go to Unsplash, for example, and we'll search for a house. We'll just pick the first one here that I like, the red one. Right click on it, open image in new tab, then copy the URL. And now /imagine, and we'll paste the URL. When you only use one image, you must include, at least currently, a text prompt. It's not going to do anything. Let us just add realistic. And then I press enter to run it. It's now going to analyze the reference image, and then it's going to give us a variation of it based on its analysis. It's a hit and miss, but we could also use memes, for example, here the fry meme. Pretty sure everyone has seen it. We'll generate it. Then right click, open a new image, copy the URL, just go to your web browser tab, Ctrl A, Ctrl C, then Ctrl V here after you've typed in /imagine prompt. I'll make it realistic once again and confirm via enter. Let us go back to the documentation while Midjourney works in the background. Number 1 is the prompt length. Here it is explained that it doesn't have to be long, it can be very simple, like house, like we did. And it's always better to concentrate on what you actually need as specifically as possible. The more stuff you add to your prompts, the less weight every single element in your prompt will have. So if you add house, you get a house. But if you add house, car, cat, dog, all in one prompt, all of these elements have less weight. And therefore you might not even get a house, or your house is going to look like a cat, whatever that is going to look like. Grammar is not really important, so you don't have to write full sentences. For example, cat lives in a house and is sleepy. It makes more sense to write cat in house, comma sleepy, something like this. I've heard people saying that version 5 can understand these sentences. I can't confirm that yet, but truth be told, I'm a beginner. It's just my second week trying out Midjourney in dev. So if it turns out that this is the case, I'll make a video about it. Focus on what you want and not what you don't want. So if you want to have a house, let's say with a red roof, don't write house red roof, no green roof. It might confuse the AI and actually give you a green roof. If you specifically want to exclude stuff from your generations, there's the no parameter. Once again, minus indicates a parameter, then no. And here you could add what you don't want. When you prompt it, you are not limited to using subjects, so house, cat, dog, as I've said, car. You can also add adjectives, verbs. You can focus on lighting, color, mood, even a time period. And under explore prompting, you can see a couple of examples. Again, we use /imagine prompt, then we'll add the art style and then cat. Could, for example, use risograph style cat, and this will give us a similar result as indicated here. You can use drawing styles, here time periods as I've said. You can use emotions, determined, embarrassed, happy, and colors. Lighting I've already mentioned earlier, and here even the environment. We can bring it all together. Let us check what Midjourney has done. Here's our house. It has also given us a girl for some reason. That happens from time to time. But you can see the house, it looks somewhat similar to the one that we've had. It's a red one. It's a small tiny house and a little bit of grass in the foreground. So it analyzes very well what you give it. But you have to try create variations until you actually have what you want. In this case, I don't know why it created a woman or a girl, but it did. So from time to time it's a hit and miss. Let us prompt something using what we have here in Explore prompts. We'll start with the risograph / imagine selected risograph style house, and comma. We'll use not a drawing style, but a time style, 1800s. What else? We'll make the house, I don't know, happy. Let's see what the AI does with it. And as colors, let us add millennial pink, the first one. That should give us interesting results. And environmental jungle, maybe. We place our house inside of a jungle. So it's a multi-subject, a multi-word prompt. And here's our fry, realistic. This one will be somewhat usable. So image 3, the other ones didn't work out well. As I've said, it's a hit and miss. And you have to create a couple of variations for the most part until you get what you want. Let me speed up this video until we have our final generation risograph style house. And here it is. You can see 1800s. Houses look definitely different than the ones that we have now. There's also a jungle in the foreground and it has used a color. You can combine that with images and parameters obviously and make your prompts highly detailed. Once again, I'll link to the documentation here. Make sure to check it out yourself. It's freely accessible. And then try out a couple of first prompts yourself. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.